Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audio fiction. This is a new one from Marichat Monday, If I Could Tell Her. And massive shout out and thank you to Peppermintpapers for the use of her stunning artwork in the thumbnails. So all her information and links are down below. Make sure you go and send her some love. Send me some love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and subscribe so you don't miss out on little treats like this and series. And I hope you enjoy. If I Could Tell Her. Cat's POV. Evening, princess. Cat landed on the rail and gave his princess a smirk, taking in how cute she looked with her blanket wrapped round her shoulders, cradling her favourite cat mug, but also knew something must be up. What brings you here tonight, kitty? It looks like it might snow. Maricat lifted the mug to her lips and glanced up at him through her lashes. She had no idea what impact she had on him. Then I could ask you the same question. Why are you out in the cold instead of in your cozy bedroom and probably hunched over the sewing machine working on a new project? You say it, kitty, as if you know me. I think I'm starting to know my princess pretty well. He casually leant against the railing and swung his tail in a circle, adding a playful grin on his face. He watched as she got caught in his net, pulling her in, and that look across her face that she only reserved for Cat. Oh, is that right? She squinted her eyes and pursed her lips mockingly. Yeah, I would guess in that mug is hot milk with a touch of honey and vanilla to help calm that ever-thinking mind of yours. You have your comforting blanket round you that is heavy enough to feel like a hug, which suggests something is weighing heavy on your thoughts. Am I close? He leaned in closer with a smirk on his lips. Maricat rolled her eyes, but couldn't completely hide the slight smile forming across her lips. So, I have a blanket. It's cold. And guessing the contents of my drink is easy enough after how many drinks we've shared on this balcony over the past few years. But what am I thinking of? He edged closer to her until he found himself sitting on the bottom edge of her seat. There, you've got me. How many times have I told you some of my woes, but you never seem to let me in there? He brushed her fringe back off her face. Or into here. He gestured to her heart and then quickly pulled back, feeling a blush forming across his face. You would have thought after all this time you've let me into some of your secrets, princess. He rose to his feet and took a few steps back until he was against the railing and waited for the cold to wash out the colour in his cheeks. Then they wouldn't be called secrets, kitty. Anyway, why would a tomcat like you be interested in my silly secrets? He turned round and saw her twisting the corner of a blanket in her hands, whilst the prism of colours blended together and shone down on the top of her head and highlighted her cheekbones. Oh, what he wouldn't give to know what was in his princess' thoughts and heart, searching for a glimpse of him inside. She darted her eyes upwards and locked onto his. His heart did a kickstart inside his chest, unable to remove his gaze. I mean it, princess. You can tell me anything. I'm good at keeping secrets after all. He gestured to himself and received a light giggle back, followed by a pang in his chest. To be honest, I feel foolish even thinking about it. Never mind saying it out loud. She broke the trance and cast her eyes back onto the corner of the blanket that remained in the shape of a cone, even when she was no longer twisting it. It was his turn to be caught in the net, feeling her drawing him in, wanting to show her he could be there for her. He took the few strides and sat back down on the seat beside her and placed a comforting hand on her arm. Even if it's foolish, who cares? What does it matter what other people think or what I think? It only matters what you think. He rubbed the material of her pink jumper between his gloved fingers. Oh, what he wouldn't give to feel it with his bare skin. Have you ever struggled to tell someone how you feel? I mean, apart from your feelings towards Ladybug. She placed her fingers over his still on her jumper. Oh, how he wished he could feel her touch better without the suit. It has been so long now. You would have thought I would have told him by now or given up on him for not seeing me, but how? How do you walk away? Keeping her eyes locked on the blanket and refused to look at him as colour flushed her cheeks. Who is this blind boy? Who could not see you, princess? His other hand hovered in front of them, about to reach out to her, but stopped, bringing it back in. Oh, why were his actions so awkward today? It wasn't normally like this between them. Instead of lightness, there was a charged energy between them, like the air before a thunderstorm, threatening to detonate. Oh, I don't blame him. He has the pick of Paris. Why would I even think? No, it's time. It's enough being his friend. Even if you had the entire world to choose from, who wouldn't pick you? If anything, you were better than this guy. No one is better than Adrian. And quickly clasped over her mouth. Oh, please, forget I said that. Her eyes became wide, darting her sight upwards, pleading. Please, Kitty. Adrian? Adrian Agress? That is who you are talking about. He couldn't help staring at her, his hands frozen, his mind blank. Please, Kitty. She stood up from the seat and made her way to the railings. Well, now you can at least see how hopeless it has been. He regards me as a good friend. Why am I not happy with that? She shrugged her shoulders and held her hands up as if she was holding out the evidence. Oh, why does my heart ache for him? If I could tell him, what would you say if you could? But I can't. It has been 4 years and I still haven't found the words. Why would it suddenly change now? He rose to his feet once again and made his way to her side. Because it's only you and me here. Plus, I know for a fact he has mentioned you before. Really? Like what? He's just a good friend, a good listener when I need advice on yet another girlfriend that's not me? She mimicked his voice, but he could hear the pain hidden beneath. He has done that. How could he do such a thing to Marinette? What she must think, but they were all for show, to keep his father happy. No. He has said other things. Notice the small details, like he thought you were awesome. He thought I was awesome? Adrian? Definitely. How? As a friend? Well, he said there's nothing like your smile. Sort of subtle and perfect and real. He reached out, gesturing to the slight smile that was now creeping across her face. He said, "You never knew how wonderful that smile could make someone feel." Really? He said that? About me? Yeah, of course. And he knew whenever you got bored, you scribbled stars on the cuffs of your jeans. Kitty chuckled, pointing to her legs, and watched her become flustered, placing one leg behind the other as if to hide it. And he noticed that you still fill out the quizzes they put in those teen magazines. She dashed to her seat, flipping shut the magazine and chucking a blanket over it. So, loads of people do. It doesn't mean he likes me because he's noticing some things. Why hadn't he? I don't know why he found it hard to say, but he kept it all inside his head. What he saw, he left unsaid, and though he wanted to, he couldn't talk to you. He couldn't find the way. But to me, he would always say these things. Oh, if I could tell her everything I see. Oh, if I could tell her how she's everything to me. But we're a million worlds apart, and I don't know how I would even start. If I could tell her? She clasped her hands together and nervously danced her thumb back and forth, hovering on the spot. Why couldn't he tell me? I thought since we were friends, yet again, if I could tell him how much he means to me. Did he say anything else? About you? Never mind. I don't care anyway. She turned her back to Kat and brushed the words away in the air between them. No, just, no. He said so many things. I'm trying to remember the best ones. So, Kat placed his hand on her shoulder and turned to face him. He thought you looked really pretty. It looked pretty cool when you put indigo streaks in your hair. He ran his hand down her hair, but dropped the gesture and rested his fingers on her forearm as his eyes caught hers. He did. Her eyes widened. Oh no. He had been sure she had washed it out the same day, regretting it instantly. There had only been one person. And he wondered how you learned to dance. His hand travelled down to hers, lifting it up and spun her around, catching her in a dance hold, swaying on the spot. Like all the rest of the world isn't there. How we danced in front of the moon. How he held me. Became a perfect moment I hold in my heart. Kitty's face lingered in front of hers. But if I could... But he kept it all inside his head. What he saw, he left unsaid. Kat released her and took a step back. If I could tell her everything I see. If I could tell her how she's everything to me. Why was this so hard? I know it's impossible. How I hoped he would finally see me. But we're a million worlds apart. And I don't know how I would even start. If I could tell her? Oh, but if I could tell her. But what do you do when there's this great divide? He just seems so far away, you know? You say these things, but why can't he tell me? And what do you do when the distance is too wide? Kitty, it's like I don't know anything. It's all a foggy mess. Should I tell him? Does it mean... Should I say? How do I say? I love you. I love you, Maricat. I love you. She breathed. I love you? He muttered back, not believing what he was hearing. Did she confess love to him or Adrian? If I could tell him. But we're a million worlds apart, and I don't know if he would hear me. And I don't know how I would even start. If I could tell her. If I could. Promise me, Maricat, you won't give up on him. He will find a way to tell you that he loves you. She leaned in and grabbed the collar of his suit, studying his eyes. What? Kitty, are you saying? He found it hard to breathe. The words had fallen out of his mouth, but this could be it. This was the moment he'd been looking for. Meet him tomorrow, in the park, at 7. He will confess it all to you, I promise. How much he wanted to close the gap, risk it all for her. If he could tell her everything. Instead, he peeled her hands off his collar and took a step back, needing to escape, needing to leave before he confessed everything to her. I need to go, princess, but promise me you'll go and let him explain. He jumped back onto the railing, pulling out his baton, ready to flee. But I will, but Kitty! Fear pushed him off into the night, a tangle of nerves of what else she might say as she called out his name. Kitty! Wait! If he could tell her, he will tell her. He will cross the divide. He wouldn't risk losing her. Not when she had spoken those words. 3 magical words. Oh, if he could tell her. He loved her too. Thank you for listening to If I Could Tell Her. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. Comment down below what you think of it, because I love to read your comments, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on other treats like this and series and other things to come. And I hope you're good, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.